The Crypt interviews in association with Mayo Leisure Point Castle Bar.
You're listening to The Crypt, and joining me on the show is Alex Vincent, who played the role of Andy Barclay in Child's Play 1 and 2. So you're very welcome to the show, Alex.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Alex, you were so young when you got the role of Andy. How old exactly were you, and were you doing much acting at that point?
Well, I was 6 years old. I had already been acting for about a year. I did some commercials and some print work and a little bit of television, auditioning in New York City. And then Child's Play was, my first real break when I was 6.
And you had some pretty cool co-stars in that movie with like Chris Sarandon and Christine Elise. What are your memories of working with them?
That's really my best memories about the whole experience, is the different people that I worked with. In the first one, I was really close with Catherine Hicks. She had never played a mom before in anything, which is funny because she really got well known for being a mom on the Seventh Heaven show. But
yeah,
this is the first time that she ever played a mom, so we really connected a lot. She really intentionally tried to connect with me a lot, and it worked out really well. And Chris was always real nice, and I had a great relationship with Tom Holland in the first film. Yeah, to me, those are the best memories I have of those movies, was working with those people.
And then, of course, the animatronics of the Chucky doll were just amazing. That must have been like such a dream for a little boy to get to work with something like that.
Well, you're exactly right. The number one question in my life is if I had nightmares. But, the truth is, it was the coolest thing in the world. It was the coolest thing for a 6-year-old kid to do, was to work with that incredibly cool electronic puppet and watch how it was operated. And yeah, it was a lot of fun for me.
Well, I think that's the thing, though. People forget. It's not like that when you're on set making the movie, with the way it comes across when you're watching it. Do you know?
Yeah, certainly not.
Looking back on both the movies, which would be your favourite of the two?
I enjoy the first film the best. It was the original. It was, just the original concept. And I enjoyed it. I think it came out best out of the whole series. The first one's probably my favorite.
Yeah, I think that's because Tom Holland, he's such a talented writer and director. He's fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
In the new Chucky movie, Curse of Chucky, you got to reprise your role as Andy. How did that come about?
I've been friends with Don Mancini for all this time. We stay in touch when we can, and he just called me and said, I wrote something for you for the new one, and I was ecstatic about it, and I was really looking forward to doing that. So I just got the invite from Don and went out to Winnipeg, and we shot it in Winnipeg, Canada, and it was great. It was great fun. The hard part was keeping it a secret for a year, which I was sworn to secrecy because my scene was, a surprise at the very end. But no, I was thrilled to be a part of that. I was so happy to come back and see all the people that I had worked with previously and work with Don again, and even to see Chucky,
Oh,
he said we'd be friends to the end, and I guess 29 years later, he wasn't kidding,
So true. The scene is brilliant when you go play with this. Do you think would they ever make another one and bring Andy back?
I really don't know. You'll have to get Don Mancini on your show and grill him on that question. Because
start a campaign.
I don't know the answer. Yeah.
And then you took a break from acting for a long time at the age of 13. What made you come to that decision?
Well, technically I'm still on a break, I guess. I just I didn't want to pursue the auditioning process, the trying to get out there. And, I think if I had gotten really famous at any point in my life, I'd probably lose my mind. It's not really conducive to me in my life. Like, I don't really enjoy that part of it. Mm-hmm. I do conventions, and I'm happy to still talk about Child's Play and get out there. This is as much fame as I can handle, though, I think. I didn't, by the time I was 13, I really came down to, I was just auditioning 4 or 5 times a week for 8 years of my childhood at that point. And I just got really burnt out of the auditioning process. And, even now, all this time later, it's just still not something that I'm really comfortable doing or something I want to do. So I don't put myself out there to audition. As far as acting itself, being in front of the camera, and I enjoy that. I enjoy that part of the process. So different things have come to me, and I've been happy to do them, and other things are coming, and I will be doing more acting, but I'm just not I don't have an agent. I can't drive to auditions. It's just a life that's
Just didn't
not,
appeal to you.
doesn't work for me. I don't like rejection that much, you know.
Well, you've a passion for music. You pursued a career in sound production. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I've always been a big audio person in general. I've always mixed music since I was like 16, 17 years old. And I went to a school in Florida called Full Sail back 6 years ago now. And I got a degree, graduated top of my class for recording arts. And it took a long time. I wasn't able to find any kind of job with that degree. It was a very expensive piece of paper, but it doesn't really translate into a career that easily. So I saved some money up and I opened up my own recording studio / production company down here in Florida. And it's AV Productions. And it's really an outlet for me to still be creative at any different level that I want, because it's a full production place. I mean, we've made a feature film, we've shot videos and short films, and a lot of audio work, mostly audio, recording, mixing for film, for musicians. All of the above. That's really what I enjoy doing.
And you have a page up on SoundCloud if anybody wanted to check some of your stuff out.
Yeah, there's a bunch of little like electronic instrumental music that I've made up there. I'm gonna be like refreshing my SoundCloud soon with some of these, some of this music that's been coming out of my studio. I just finished a 13-track album for this acoustic folk singer. She's really good. It's not just acoustic folk, right? There's a lot of instruments involved, but she put out a really good album, and I was really lucky to get an opportunity to mix and master that whole album, and I'm really happy with how it came out. So once she releases it, that'll go up there, and I've got different projects going on that once they're finished, I'll be updating all of my little online creative portfolios with that kind of stuff.
And then you also write screenplays. Can you tell us about the film you wrote and starred in called House Guest?
Yeah, certainly. I've written several screenplays. The writing part comes easy to me. It's what I've really been doing a long time. I've published poetry books, and I've written a lot of short stories, and I've written 7 or 8 screenplays. It's the process of actually getting the money to make the ones that you write. That's the hard part. But this one, I just got hired by these local guys down here in Florida that wanted to make a film, and they had a basic idea, but they needed a screenwriter. So I wrote the film. And then that turned into, well, you have a really nice camera. Can we use your camera to shoot it? And I said, sure. They said, well, you do sound audio. Can you mix all the audio for it? I said, okay. And then they said, hey, we have a role in it. Can you act in it also?
Oh, God.
So I really just got pulled into this film at many different levels. But it was a great experience. I mean, me and these guys really just took everything from scratch and made a film. You know, it's not the best film in the world. We had no budget at all. I mean, we made this film for like $1,000 total, and it's, you know, a short feature, about an hour, 20 minutes, home invasion type of story. But we were proud of it. You know, it didn't. It's not a masterpiece, but all of our work that we put into it really paid off when we had a premiere and we got to invite people, and the film came out good, and we took it to some film fests and people enjoyed it. So it was a great experience.
You said you've wrote quite a few screenplays. What would the genre be?
Yeah.
Would it be mixed genre, or just stick to the one?
Yeah, I've written a couple. I've written different things. I have about 4 or 5 that are in the psychological thriller / horror genre. I mean, I have some presence in that genre, and I can't deny that. So, again, that process of taking your written screenplay and then trying to get some money and get funding and get investors or a group investment type of deal on the internet or whatever it is. Really, I know that my fan base is in the horror, sci-fi, psychological thriller type of genre. So most of the scripts that I wrote that I have intentions of doing something with are kind of along those lines. But I've written a couple comedies. I even wrote like a romantic comedy. And I've written some dramatic short stories and stuff like that. I'm not completely held to the horror world. I would like to do things besides that, but considering that I do, 12, 15 horror convention appearances throughout the year, and the majority of my fans are horror fans, getting my name out there as a writer, I figured that's one of the better ways to go. Plus, I mean, I still have a pretty dark mind myself, so I'm kind of leaning that way whether I like to or not.
And the horror fans, they're so loyal, and they're great for supporting you then when it comes to doing other projects, even if it's not in the horror genre.
I'm incredibly fortunate that, in my acting career, I really only did a couple things that anybody's ever seen. But the fact that it was a horror film really enables me and gives me the privilege and opportunity to be able to do these conventions and meet fans nearly 30 years later. If I had been in even a popular comedy, really be able to do stuff like this. I think it's because just of the visceral reaction and emotions that people have to horror films. I mean, there's very few emotions that are as real as being afraid, so that sticks with you your whole life. I mean, and it leads to very devoted fans, which I appreciate that every day. So. And
I think the thing is as well, at the moment, horror fans, we just love to see independent films coming out, because out of Hollywood, all you're getting is remakes and reboots. So it's great to see new ideas,
Yeah, I'm halfway through 2 screenplays right now. I have another one that is on the shelf, I guess, so to speak, but really ready to go. So hopefully I can put out some new ideas and maybe give some people things that they haven't exactly thought of yet.
Well then, where can people follow all things Alex Vincent online?
It's pretty easy. I mean, if you just Google me, I have a website, alexvincentonline.com, which has all my personal appearances and some little bit of media stuff on there, and just basic updates on me. Then I also have my studio website, which is avproductionsonline.com, which is, I mean, really, if anybody needed audio work or film work or consultation on their ideas that they have, or a collaboration of musical ideas or otherwise, my studio is pretty capable of handling a lot of different projects. So people that are interested on that side of things can certainly look up there, avproductionsonline.com. And even my Facebook is pretty accessible to people, so fantastic. I'm out there,
Excellent. Well, Alex, thanks so much for coming on the show today. It's been a real pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Rita. I appreciate you having me on.